All right. Hello and welcome to, let me go ahead and turn this volume down right the way. And let's make it a little nicer for y'all. Yeah, that's probably fine. All right. Hello everyone and welcome to my channel, 3Fake. It's the username I use for most of, if not all of my games. Some variation of that for sure. And you may hear me refer to some of my friends that I may put clips up on here as my name, of course, Hunter. So I'm glad you're here to watch this video. I'm playing some random mod pack, but that's not the real reason I'm here. It's just something for y'all to have in the background so you don't get too bored. Um, I wanted to make a YouTube video as sort of a way of um, giving myself a little more accountability, I guess, for the things I really want to do, um, which is just creative things. Um, I don't know that I get stone here. Let's my brightness is all the way up. But yeah, I wanted to talk some about the things I want to do, Um, so I was gonna talk about myself a little bit, um, give some context, for who I am, maybe some of the things I want to do, where my head's at right now, really. So, cool. Some nice animations. We'll start with that, yeah. Um, my name is Hunter, like I said, or 3Fae. That's how you'll probably see me most commonly. Um, and I really love literature and writing my own stuff, music, video games, talking with my friends, learning about other people and their experiences, everything to be related with that. Um, so yeah, I am a college student. I am enrolled in a oh wow, that's some cool generation. I'm enrolled in an English major. Um, Mostly because I just like it and I happen to be good at it. Um, excuse me. Um, but I guess that's a good jumping off point for maybe why I want to make videos. Um, I've always really liked reading and writing. Um, I since I was a little kid, hanging out with my grandfather during the summer, watching what he did. He did a lot of stuff associated with that. Um, Watching him do his job, sitting at a computer and typing away on whatever writing project he had to that weekend or at the end of the month or whatever it was. Um, and then trying to convince him to create like some book series I thought we were gonna make like bestsellers, I guess. And that uh, I would have been, not even in second grade, wanting to do all that. To getting to the end of middle school and having like some thoughts on, um, very very surface level type essays, but um, I remember I wrote one about remorse. It's kind of like the must have been like an end of the year project or just like one of the last essays we wrote that I remember had at least a couple of nice things in it. Like impressive for that age, 7th or 8th grade. And then to now, being in an actual college setting for it and writing at that level, I've just really enjoyed it all the way since I was a little kid till now, talking with people who do this kind of stuff for a living. But I've always known it was one of my passions, but for a time I didn't think it's what I would do for a long time. I didn't think it would be what I would do, as a living. I didn't think that it would make a lot of money. It doesn't. I didn't think, well, to be honest, I didn't think I could make a living off of it at all. And, I would definitely consider myself to be an introvert. Not like a can't talk to people introvert. And not like a social anxiety thing. Just like not really all that sociable with people I'm not familiar with. And I went to the same school from 1st grade all the way up to 8th. And it was a private Christian school. And so it was kind of like imposed on us, oh, you're classmates with these people, you're gonna be their friend. Ooh, I want to go see what's in here. So I didn't really have to make friends. I just had them because we were all classmates at a Christian school. We were going to be friends because that's what you did when you were classmates at a Christian school. And that young, of course, as well. And so when I get to high school, and my high school was like 30 minutes away from my elementary and middle school because we had moved while I was in middle school. And so I'm going to a new school. Nobody I know there. And, not. I don't think at that point I realized how much I actually disliked such structured education like that, but I was definitely not too keen on the idea of school, like having to sit there for several hours a day, like most people. And so I and this is also worth mentioning. I live in the U.S. and the state I live in, so probably narrow it down some. Who cares? The state I live in doesn't have great education like most U.S. states, and pretty low standards, I would say, as well for public schools. And so I went from a Christian school, all the problems that can sometimes cause, with it being, I guess that being valued over certain things. It felt going from that standard of education where they did want to and did genuinely make an effort towards making us well-rounded students to public school that didn't have great funding and where athletics were more important than academics. It was definitely kind of a shock. And I remember that I had gotten, I had tested out of Spanish 1 because I took Spanish for several years at my elementary and middle school. And unbeknownst to me, that wasn't the standard at that wasn't my state's standard for education. That was just kind of like a thing you do, and it was required that you do it in high school, but not necessarily in middle or elementary. And so I get there, and it's people who, like, all they know, and not that they're dumb or anything, but just that they've never been taught anything past, like, hearing "Hola" on some show or whatever. And so I'm sitting there in a classroom off to the side because, again, not great funding. I didn't, like, get the uh, go ahead to move on to Spanish 2 until all the other classes for Spanish 2 were full. And so what I would do is I would go there, and I would just do my Spanish 2 classwork in the Spanish 1 classroom that I was originally supposed to be in. But I was off to the side doing it alone. And I remember one morning I had gone in there early because, again, not very sociable, and I didn't have anybody to talk to, like, in the mornings while I waited for, like, the bell to ring. So I just went into my classroom and I was just looking stuff up. This is like burned into my memory, bro. Just looking up random stuff I could think of off the top of my head to pass the, like 10, 15 minutes or so until class started. And I specifically remember looking up ankylosing spondylitis and just being so enamored with the idea of what that represented and the idea that such a complex neural system existed. And so, you know, we're now at the end of my long story. And that was what I wanted to do for so long. I wanted to engage in neuroscience research, specifically neuropathology research. Just really obsessed with the idea that such a complex system had so many ways and so many unknown ways of going wrong. Anyway, and that was what I wanted to do until the U.S. got its current president reelected, and yeah, neuroscience got a lot of funding cut, both at universities and research institutions. And I remember I had selected several places that I would have liked to attend as like a research student, or to work there as like a dream job. And all of the directors were saying something to the effect of, I'm gonna sue this guy's bed. Something to the effect of, this won't. It was all stuff like the field's never going to recover, or if it does, that it'll take years, like decades. And so here I am, my 17-year-old self. I think I would have been 16 or 17. And I don't know what to do. I'm kind of lost. But I had a really great English teacher at that time. I was lucky enough to have him for both of my AP English courses I took. I took AP Ling and Lit, and he taught both of them at my school. And, just great with what he suggested we read and do. And looking back on it now, I definitely didn't recognize it then. He definitely wanted us, he was more concerned with us being prepared intellectually for life than just, reading a bunch of stories with us. And I really appreciate that. And it kind of spurred me on to learning more about politics now that I was seeing that, like, the field I wanted to go into wasn't, I wasn't really, like, a possibility for me anymore. So yeah, I started learning about that, and I figured, at a certain point, I figured, if I if I can't do what I wanted to do that was gonna make me money, you know, and like help the world, and I'm just gonna follow my dreams. Um, which is why I'm in the major I'm in now. Just decided, you know, if the job market is the same for, or in the same in the U.S. for neuroscience and uh, writing, then I'm just gonna go ahead and do what I want, and maybe, you know, maybe I'll even have better chances. Um, so yeah, in spirit of that creative want, that creative desire, um, a while back I had wanted to start making YouTube videos, and I uploaded a couple things, and then I just kind of stopped. And so I'm making this video to, like I said earlier, to give myself a little more accountability. Um, so now we arrive at the present where I'm working on my major, right? And you know, in the last, or well, about a month ago, it must be now. Maybe more like 5 or 6 weeks. I finished this novel, 100 Years of Solitude by Gabriel Garcia Marquez. Great piece of literature, by the way. Just absolutely loved it. And then almost immediately after that, you know, give or take a couple weeks, I started reading Leaf Storm by him as well. And as I was getting through that, and thinking about his, the other novel I read, the other work I read, I really realized that in addition to wanting to be a creative person and really express that, I want to just kind of get out my thoughts more as well and try to build a sense of community, because I really feel, um, you know, I'm not rich or anything. I'm privileged, but not enough to like go out and do face-to-face outreach. So maybe the best thing I can do is try to build some sort of online community. Oh, wow. Those are not friendly. I didn't know those spawned. I don't even know what those were. Anyway, so yeah, and I realized I feel that way because it bothers me so much how little people are aware of their place in the world and how similar some people are to them, you know. Learning about politics like I have as of late, and, you know, coming to the political alignment I have, um, it's just really bothered me how concerned people are with identity politics and not with, you know, caring about the person. Like, I I live in a conservative part of the country, and it just really disheartens me to see, you know, my, like, people who live in my town who are white, and they care more about the the Mexican immigrant who's making just as much money as they are than the billionaire who's getting like billions back every year in tax breaks, you know? It's like, ah. So, all that to say, I, I want, I feel I have this opportunity where I'm privileged enough to live and do my major and be able to make YouTube videos. Maybe I can make something out of it, you know? And so, yeah, that's what this video serves as. I'll be talking about some of um a Joshua Desert. That's cool. Um just talking about some of my interests, which is anywhere from the stuff at the beginning I said. Maybe I'll make a video talking about my thoughts on a novel I read. Maybe I'll talk about how this song I really like is related to my favorite movie or whatever. And maybe I'll just upload some funny clips of me catching my friends saying something that would make them lose a job. No, but just you know just creating to create because I'm a human and humans are creative and humans should share stuff with each other. So yeah, that's where my head's at right now. I'm here on this rock, and I just want to make it to where I get to write some stuff down and talk about some random stuff. And maybe somebody will come along and it'll make them smile or think a little deeper about um, their life and experiences. That's about all I could hope for. Um, I I don't know how frequently I'll upload. This is kind of like um a, a channel um what would you call it, channel trailer, that thing that um you see as like the main video on everybody's stuff. um oh, I broke that. Just like an introduction to what I plan to do, uh really do this time. you know Maybe I'll talk some politics, maybe I'll talk about media, and then of course maybe it'll just be the videos, like I said, the variety video game stuff. But yeah, I'm gonna be here throwing some videos up every now and then, and I'll try my best to keep it, fun and light, but don't be surprised to see a deeper video of me ranting about how the world sucks and everybody needs to love each other more. So yeah, uh, I thank you for coming and watching me run around this world while I talk about, just gloat about myself a little bit. So yeah, thank you for watching. Oh, I that's pretty funny. All right, yeah, thank you for watching. I will see you in the next video, hopefully. Bye.